Hello everyone, this is Marcus and today we are going to create these buttons. But before we go on, I'm going to show you things we are going to do today, in this afternoon. I don't know what time it is in the place that you live in, but I'm going to show you. This approach I want to show you, it's like this. Some people, they think a little, I would say slightly different, but I prefer to think this way because in my case, for me, that's easier to understand the way that I have to approach things and group them together. I like to think this way. We have this little atom, it's a text, and then we have this container here. Separated, they are atoms, like I said before. So I'm thinking here about the primary button and the secondary button, okay? And for each one, we have different states, like I'm gonna show in the second above the fold. Okay, here we talk about molecules because when I join two or more atoms, I have molecules. So, like I said before, here they are separated like text and this container, and the color here is black just to have some contrast because my background is light gray, kind of light gray. So if I type using a white color, it will not be easy to see. So just this decision for this reason. And here we have two atoms, they are combined. So we have the button states. We have for the primary and for the secondary. We have the state enabled when the button is available to be clicked, like this. We have the hover. It means when the user hovers the mouse over the button. We have the pressed state when the user presses the button. And then after that, the button needs to process the information, like we are talking about the front end, and then the request will be done like in the back end, and the information will take some time to be processed. So in this time, it's important to provide to the user context, like, okay, what's going on? So it's being processed. The system is thinking. And then we have this disabled state. We have all these states for primary button, like I said before, and for secondary button too. So they are molecules, two atoms. They together, they make a molecule. So we have many molecules here. And after that, we can think about organisms, because we have this big container, this screen, whatever, and then we have a primary button and this secondary button. Two buttons combined, we have this organism, because here they are separated, like they are not together. And here we decided to place them one beside the another. So we have this organism. And after that, we have this template. We are using these two buttons here, but we are using as well this Android navigation bar, this status bar. We have this title, we have some text, we have some placeholder to use as a place that will embrace a photo in the future, and this cover as well. And after that, like you know, I know, everybody knows, when we input the real information, we are going to have pages, because the difference between templates, like here, and pages, the difference is one has placeholders, let's say like this, and the another one has real information. So here we have this fjord, these mountains, this avatar, this title, this text, and the buttons here, they are next and previews. And we have status bar and Android navigation bar too. So we are learning how to make these screens, going through each one of these phases I showed before. But before, I would like to show you a little thing about the previous tutorial. We learned how to make this walkthrough and welcome screen. I showed you all those things before, so I will not spend time showing that again. Just passing through that, we have the same approach, like we talked about atoms, molecules, organisms, templates, and pages. But after that, I think that in the first, the second, the third tutorial, I showed you how to build up these things, this sort of documentation. So I placed both of them together here. It's about some tutorials ago. And here I was just comparing. We are going to focus on this one here. So we got this page, this information. Actually, I was still doing that. I didn't finish yet. But just to demonstrate, we document like this. We have this welcome screen, and then we have this spacing system. I showed you before how to do that, just to know. Like here we have 84 height. Here we have 16. We have 8. 51, it's not right. It should be different, but anyway. And 74, it should be 72. Like I said before, I'm still working on it. But I always recommend you to document. It's important because you don't know the way that the developers, they are going to use this document. So that's important to document as better as possible. So we have here the background, it's blue. Here is the color, the Exa color. We have the width, the height, the same thing about the status bar, and so on. So we have many things to document, and I showed you before, like here, some tutorials ago. We have the final and real state, like here, this bottom sheet, it's active. Then we did some spacing system just to see how things are set together. Then we documented the background, the overlay or shadow, the title, the divider, it's light gray, as you can see here. And each one of the icons too, you know, so that's important to do that. Do that always as much as possible. So jumping into today's tutorial, let's do that. So the easier way to do that is like this. Like, you know, by way of providing these tutorials, I like to have this base, which I normally do before, and then it's easier to go on. Okay, here we have this container. So we just need to press R and draw whatever size. Then we can click here, and it is 112 by 35. So let's have the same. 112 by 35. It would be good to have this corner radius as H, and the same color for here. I can come here, copy this one and place here. So you over there, you have time to pause the video and to see things that perhaps I'm going to fast. Okay, I'm going faster than I should go, but you have time to watch this slower. You even can go to YouTube, and there is a feature really good. So you watch this video slower, like 75% of the speed, it's going to be just great. Okay, we have this first one. Now we need to duplicate. So here we have this enabled, so you can type there enabled, right? You can select both of them, just click, select, like covering this way. Press and hold Alt, the Alt key. Then here we are going to copy this color. This one is hover. The next one I can select both of them and press Ctrl D and then grab like this. I need to pick up this color, place the color here. This one is the pressed one. Then we need to have the loading. Same color, the difference is this spinner. So you can wonder, how can you do this spinner? I'm gonna teach you, it's easier. So let's copy this one, zoom in. First of all, I will click here, line. I will draw a line like 5. Its size is gonna be 5. 5, 6, you decide. You have more time than I do because I'm just recording this video, so you will have time to pause, to do by your own, no problem. So we have this part, we can call that like shape, for instance, or line, you decide. I will select, press and hold Alt, I will move like this, something like this. Then I will select both of them. I will press Ctrl D or Command D. Then I will click here and I will rotate like this. I can press and hold Shift. It's easier this way. I will select the 4 new shapes. And I can see a thing here. I will just bring it here a little like this. Good. Well, I will do something like this. I will select all of them. I will increase the stroke like 2. 2 is too much. 1 is too little. Perhaps 1.5, something like this. Some people, they don't like to use these broken, let's say like this, measures, sizes. You know, you decide the better way, the way that works for you. Perhaps something like this would be fine. I will select all of them. I will press Ctrl Shift O. This way, my lines are not line anymore. They are shapes. You can see here, they are not line anymore. They are like containers, shapes. So we are going to organize a little more, something like this. So now we have kind more freedom. I prefer to work this way. And the space between them, it's important to be the same too. Like I will select these two. I can group like Ctrl G, these two, Ctrl G, just to make things easier. Now I can press here, you know, like I taught that before, so I'm not spending a lot of time on it. Okay, we have this cross. We can select this cross, Ctrl D to duplicate. We will click here, press and hold Shift to be easier to spin like this, and voila, we have this spinner. So you have the freedom to, for instance, oh, I wanna have things like this, you know, like this, more space between them. It's gonna be good too. Here the same one, you know, you have time more than I do. Like I said, I'm recording this tutorial. For that reason, I don't have a lot of time to do that, but this one is gonna be gray. So I will take the color from here, like I can go Control C, Control V here. Just good. I will select all of them, Control Shift G to ungroup all. And then I want to call line here. I will press tab, line here, tab, line here, tab. When I press tab, I just go to the next layer and I don't need to like click out, click in, you know. I just go this way, line, line, line. Good. I will select all of them, Control G, and I can call like loading, spinner, icon. Let me see the way I call it here, loading. Okay, it's gonna be loading too. And then you can wonder, oh, but its size is too bigger. We can go here, we can lock the constraint position and like type 16, you know, because we know that it's good to work multiplying the 8 number, like 8 pixels grid, so 8, 16, 24, and so on. So we have this one, pretty similar, almost the same. We can delete, and we have this loading state just right here. Loading, good. Okay, we need to have the disabled states. We can copy these two here. The color is gonna be this gray. You have the freedom to change the way you want, the way you think it's gonna be better. So I will select all of them. I can name correctly things like, I can call that background, container, whatever. I'm gonna call container. Container here. Container. Container. Container here too. Then we will select all of them, press and hold Alt, click and drag, and we have the copies. We have the primary one and we have the secondary one. So what we need to do here is just to invert. We need to have the border and it will not be filled. We are going to copy this one, stroke, just click and paste it here. We can click like here, and we are not seeing the filled shape anymore, and we can increase here like 2 is gonna be good. Do the same with all the buttons, but they have some things in particular, like here. Enabled, it's like the ghost button, but when the user hovers, it needs to have some color to demonstrate like the button is working, the user is hovering the mouse over it. So let's go this way. We can have the same border here, for instance. Let's see if that works. And have this color to fill, and like this, and here is not black. Here we have this color here, so it's easier. I taught that before, you know pretty much how to do that. And then when the button is pressed, it will be darker. So we can even delete this one, and make copies. It's gonna be easier. And here we just need to change once. So we have this thing here, right? We're going to paste this color here, the same for here. And at last, we need to have this BA color on the stroke color, like this. And here I don't want to see any color. Boom. So we have the primaries and secondaries. Here you know, we did this background in many tutorials, so you don't need to do that entirely. We can just jump back and take from some previous tutorial like here, you know, and adapt the way that it's necessary. Good one. So we have this first part done, right? We did that together. We have the buttons, the primary, secondary, and so on. They are just done. They are good. They will be used properly. So now I will copy. Just I click, I hold the click, and I drag. Then I have all selected. I press and hold shift and I can move around. I press and hold alt, actually. I press and hold alt so I can move around like this and make copies. So now it's time to to have these texts inside of the containers. It's easier, you know how to do that. It's easier, just select in both of them, click here and then here. But it's not working well. There are many ways to solve this problem. I prefer the easiest way. We can select here this text, Ctrl X, click here on this container and press Ctrl Shift V. When you press Ctrl Shift V, these elements that was copied will be pasted here, you know, in this point here, the 0, X and Y. And then it's easier to select and then just to do that, you know, align by center and by center here, horizontal and vertical. And here I will go and we'll center here too. And the color, it's gonna be white. Boom, it's done. Just like the example here, enabled. And then we need to do the same for the other ones. It's easier. I will do that without speaking a lot because I explained that before, so I don't need to do that again. In this case here, I will delete the loading and we will copy here. Then we need to change the color, and for the disabled, we did wrong here. That's right, sorry. Like here, loading, disabled here and disabled here, just to have this documentation done properly to help us in the future. Then I can select all the texts that I want to be white to spare time, to save time, and then I can select all of them to be centralized like this. Then to centralize related to the container, I need to go one by one, like this, like this, like this, and like this too. Well, it's gonna be white, 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 and here we have some opacity, like 30%. You can use the opacity you prefer. So I will select all of them. I will pick up the white color for here too. Okay, just good. This one too, it's gonna be white, but here 30% of opacity, but not exactly here. I prefer here this idea of spinning will be better for this little part here, this shape. Okay, so we already have this idea. What we can do by now is grouping things. Like I will select both of them and I will call button, and do the same for the others. Button, G, G, G here too. But here, the color is different. I will copy this color here. I will paste it here. It's gonna be like this because it seems really, really, really disabled. Okay, now we can align things just like this, right? And we can use the right name, like button here too, and here too. Button, just great. So we have this first part done. And then we need to do the same for the other part here. But you already know how to do that. It's easier to. We labeled properly, so it's gonna be just easier. And how about the color? The color is blue and not white anymore, you know? All of them, they are blue. Some of them are like blue, some dark blue. Here it's white and here it's gray. So let's have the same color. Let's see here, this shade of blue, same shade of blue for here too. Here it's like dark blue. We can go the same way. Loading just the icon. We don't need to do the icon again. We can just copy from here. We can paste. We can move around. What did I do here? I select, clicking twice. This way I selected this spinner. Then I pressed Ctrl C. I clicked Alt. Then Ctrl V because I paste that out of the group, so it's easier to move. And then I placed it here. I just did that. Now it's time to align and to centralize. Align and centralize. The order is not important. We can cut, paste in the place we need. You know how to do that. I taught that before. It's not hard to do. Here too. And this light gray here. Center. Okay. And paste in here. And then just select and do that. Select and do that. Select and do that. Select and do that too. It's like a tune, a song. Select and do that. Select and do that. So we are going to call that button. Where is this? Here, enable, and okay. We need to group. Then call button. We could call secondary button, but I'm just calling as button. Then we will have tutorials to talk about organization. I talked a little about that before, like how it's important to organize layers, to group things, to have these elements really well organized. It's going to be just not so good, not only good, but easy to find things, easy to help the developers, the other designers too. So a lot of benefits with that. And now we have this. We have the molecules. Great. Let's place it here because we did that together. It's important to see what we did so far. Next point, I will select just the main elements that I need here. Let me see the distance between them. (32, 32, 32, 56). Okay, so let's do that. Just clicking and dragging and dropping. 32. We can go like key arrows in our keyboard, and it's easier to move things, easier than when we use the mouse. The mouse is good, but when we need to align small things, this way is better. And here that was 56, I think so, if I'm right. Because all of them, they are, we are multiplying the number 8, you know. Okay, this way, like I explained before, we have the organism. As easy as that. And now we have to go on to the next part. So I taught you before how to do this bar here. So you don't need to do everything from scratch again. We can just come here in this tutorial. In this case, we learned how to do components. So we have components for that. If you didn't do this tutorial, I recommend you to step back, to go there and to watch the other tutorials that I did. So we have this component here. We can use as a component, or we can use just as a normal element. Like I can come here, we have this status bar. I can copy and paste here, and then just to align things here. And then I click twice here, and I can do I click twice here again. I select just this one point here, and then I can make it round like 16. Click twice out of that, do the same for here. Click twice, twice again, select it, type here 16, just great. And we can do the same one, going to the same place, like taking this bar, navigation bar, come back here. We can even paste it here, like selecting here, Control V. We can move things like this and do exactly the same. Click twice, twice again, select this point. We can even press and hold Shift, then I will cover this part and cover this part too, and 16 for both of them. Boom. So we got that. And now the distance here, it's gonna be like 56, but not from the bottom of the page, but comparing to this bar here. Let me see that again, just a minute. 32. I was wrong, I'm sorry. 32. 32, pretty good. So we have this part done. About the cover, it's easier to do. We just need to draw something like this. Position here, click here, drag, drop, position here. It has no, we don't need to do exactly the same height. Similar, it's gonna be good. The color, it's a placeholder, so we can like select here and paste here. We can have some text like this, like calling that cover. Easy to do, you know how to do that. I will not spend time doing that. Select both of them, something like this, cover, easier to do. Then we can like, we have this container, I can call that as a container. We can select both and call cover, why not? And then photo. Perhaps some tutorials ago we had something similar. We can copy from there to save time, like this one. It was an icon, but we can use as a photo. Even here, the name is photo. So we can like type the same size. We can at first paste it here, and then put that in the center here, like aligning here. Then 84, I think so. Let's see. 86. I'm sorry, 86. And then the text size, it's gonna be 12. We see how that work. We can place like here, more or less like here. I pasted inside of the cover, so I will cut, click out, and paste out. So they are independent now. And how about the text? The text is Roboto 28, easy to do. Like we just type title, come here, Roboto, bold, 28, boom. 32 by 32, the distance comparing to the border. We can like select it here, align here, here too, and then we come here and just do that, minus 32 and minus 32 again, or minus 64, something like this. You got that. So we have that. 37 is not good because we are talking about multiplying 80 by 80 by 8. I'm sorry, 8 by 8 by 8 by 8. And the text, Roboto 2, but light and 16. So just like this, Roboto light 16. The distance 8 pixels. Like I said before, it's important to work with 8 pixels grid. So we got that. That could be like this, you know, to support when text here, something like this. Good. 32, 22, not good. You have to decrease to have this 24, because 24 we are multiplying 8 by 8 by 8. Just good. So we have this template. The template, like I taught here, we have templates, like we have assets, they are templates. We learned about that. Do you remember that? Those templates we did together. So with the templates, let me step back to the right page. With the templates, we can just drag and drop, and then we can add information. You know, it's a component, it's a symbol. We can add how much information we need, and then we can, like, for instance, oh, okay, I want to reset all overrides. Boom, you know. I taught that before. If you didn't watch that tutorial, I recommend you to step back, turn around, and to go there to watch, because that's really worth. And then the last part, okay, I'm gonna group that and I'm gonna call page, just to make that easy to find. Page view, whatever. I will position here just to be in the same direction. And then we could do something here really good. I taught you before how to make components, and now we do this button as a symbol. Okay, so let's see how that figure out. The first thing I would like to tell you, when we are creating components, see here, we have this template and we have this icon, and they are like in folders, you know, because the name, the nomenclature word did right. So how can we do this here? It's easier. We just call that button space slash space, and then we could call that like button, let's see, primary space slash space enabled, for instance, right? I'm gonna copy this structure, this nomenclature. I will paste it here. This one is hover. I will just change it. This one is pressed. This one is loading. And this one is disabled. Let me see if I'm in the right part. Yes, disabled. So, and this one disabled. In this case, we are talking about the secondary So the primary will be secondary, right? Secondary enabled. This one is secondary hover. We have secondary pressed. This one secondary hover. And this one secondary disabled. I'm sorry by that, but secondary should be small caps. So I'm gonna correct that right now, because as a designer, you know, I need to take care of those things. You too, you over there, you can be a designer, you can be a entry-level designer or mid-level senior coordinator, lead, whatever. So now we have things here. You can select and just click here, create components. When you do that, you can come here, and now you are seeing these components created. So we have local components, and we have this structure like button primary, right? And we have other components. They are in different parts, but I'm gonna explain how what's the reason for that. I'm gonna press Ctrl Z and Ctrl Z again, and things disappear from here, the assets. I will select those buttons. I will press Ctrl C. I will go to this page I created. I created a page. In the other tutorials, we did that together, so you can go there again. If you didn't create, you can click here in this plus icon and then add a new page, call that components, and then we are going to place our components here. So I will paste them here. I will copy this kind of folder I did just to have this metaphor to help us to get things done. And now I'm gonna call that buttons. Just click. And now we will do what exactly? I will lock this folder here. I will select the folder and the title, and I will lock both of them like this and this. So they are locked. I can't select anymore. And I have the buttons here, the primary and this secondary. So I will do the same thing. I will select this first one. I will click here, create component. Now I will come back to assets, and the component is not like the component was like the 11th page called button. Now they are here in the components page, so they will be organized inside of this page. So we have local components. So I will select this one and I will click here, create component, and they appear here. You can see button primary. You open it, you have this primary button. So we can drag and drop this button in whatever page we want, and we can like, okay, you know, we can have those names like for instance, my first button. We can even click here and, you know, make the button larger. You know, we have this flexibility. Then I will teach you how to create more flexible components, but for a while that's great. So we have this first button, and then when we select this secondary and create a component, see, now it changed a little. If you open here, you have two categories. We have primary and secondary. We're talking still about buttons, and we have primary and secondary. Okay, And now we can even select one by one and do the same thing because they are organized. Like if I come back to layers, you can see button, primary, hover. The other one, button, primary, press. You know, they are totally organized, so it's easier to create components. If you see the tip, there is a shortcut here, like Ctrl Alt plus K. So you can do the same. We can create component using the shortcut like Ctrl Alt K. Boom, we have a new component here. Did you see that? And we can like drag in, you know. That's good when we are creating user flows, and so we can like, okay, in this page, this state is enabled, hover, I don't remember. We can come here like and change. Just doing that, you know. Oh, this button for this flow is enabled. Okay, something like next, you know. Oh, I'm wrong. The user now needs to hover the mouse over this next button in the page I'm creating. I can just come here and change that by hover. Once that I typed a text here, it's not the placeholder. It was written hover before. Once that I write my own text, it will not change the text, just the background. Okay, so you can do many things this way. Just good. And let me switch more. Just selecting here, Ctrl Alt K, here Ctrl Alt K, here Ctrl Alt K. So we have all the buttons. Once that we have all the buttons, we can just come here in this inspector panel and change. Like I want this one, I'm sorry, hover. I want the loading, I want the preset, I want, you know, the disabled. We can decide, and they are flexible. We can come here and like type select, for instance, input a text. Like supposing that we have some text field before, and then when the user input a text, in the next screen, this button changes, like being enabled with some thing like next, you know. We can do many things. It's flexible, easy to do. Well, I want to show you that there are more ways to create components or symbols. We can select all of them that are still missing. We can come here in this little down arrow. We can open it here, and then we can create one component with all the selection, or we can create multiple components. Click here, boom, we did all together at once, as easy as possible, and they are here. So we have button, inside we have the primaries and we have the secondaries. And in other tutorials we did icons, templates. So I have many more to show you, but for a while that's enough. And come back in to the layers panel, button. Those here, they aren't real buttons, they are just groups, you know. They were useful to design, to structure, to measure, whatever, but then they are just to demonstrate what we did. So they are good to document, but they are not components. If we need to do flows and, you know, to use the symbols in our design, we always should click here in assets. In this case of buttons, we need to open it here and then drag and drop what we want to use, you know, just like this. And if we need to edit our symbols or components, we just we can select it here and then click here, for instance, go to main components, and that link takes us to this part here. We were before assets, and here we have all symbols we did before. We can edit, we can change, for instance, colors, stroke, text, whatever property we want or need, we can change it here. And we have a shortcut here to come back to the place we were before. Okay, I think that you got the point. So we learned how to make components. Now to verify if you are using components or not, for instance, when we are in the layer panel, when you select a component, you can see like here, this diamond, this outline diamond, it's a component. And when you select the group, it's like dashed square, you know, the difference between them. And even here, if I select this one, the selection is blue, and here the selection is purple. So there is no way to be confused. Even here I could use my my components like here. I could use in all the places. I recommend you to replace from here. You know, you can replace here and here too. It's gonna be easy to work. Like here, for instance, see what I do. I will place it here in the same position. I will cut, I will delete this one, and I will paste, and I will paste it here. But I will paste with Ctrl, Shift, and V, right? Exactly in the same place. Then I will cut, I will select this one, I will delete, and I will paste again. But you can say, well, it's not the right component, the right button here, but we can just change. It's easier. Just go here. We are in the primary section. We just need to step back. We have here primary and secondary. Open here. We have this one here. Boom. Just like this. As easy as that. Here, let's see. It's not enabled. Yeah, it's enabled. Primary and secondary enabled. Just good. And here the same one. I can like copy from here, and I can paste it here, selecting the two of them, Ctrl Shift V to be in the same place. Then I can cut. I can select both. Press Ctrl, click here, Ctrl V. Same position, exactly the same one. Alright, but they are symbols, components. Just good. And for here, we could do the same here, 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 but you got the point, because this tutorial is about buttons. I'm bringing more context, but the buttons, they are fine. If you only do the buttons, it's gonna be fine. But I like to go on always to push a little more. Okay, now we just need to have this more information here, and it's easier. I can go like to I just want to have some fjord, like I said before. Let's see, some beautiful landscape like this. I will copy this image. I will come back here. I will click twice again, and I will paste it here. Oops, it's wrong. I will press and hold Ctrl, click here, Ctrl V to paste inside, Ctrl V. And now I will press and hold Ctrl, I will select this text here, and I will hide, and I will search for avatar photo. Not exactly. Let's see, stock photo portrait. I don't know if you are seeing my screen. If you are not seeing my screen, I apologize for that, but you just need to go to the internet and try to find some photo. someone like this could be fine. I will press and hold Ctrl. I will select this shape. I will press Ctrl and V to paste inside. I will select this icon text and I will hide this text. I will select this image and I can have some stroke, some white stroke, just changing the color here and then increasing a little. I can change like inside stroke, outside stroke, you know, to have more space for photo. And then I just want to copy this text here. I created this text. I am supposing like some company, some startup I created. It's named Travely. I just copy and paste it here. And then I have some small text just to give more context. Travely is the largest traveling app in the world. Here you can search for local, check reviews, schedule the period, pay, and many more, you know, just that. And here we have these previews like I said before, and next. Just good. Okay, and I think that this tutorial was easy to do, was interesting, at least to me. I could provide good content for you, and I think that you could learn some things here and there. And that's it for today. I really hope that you are enjoying my content, and I'm gonna record my tutorials in the future. Take care of yourself, and bye. See you in the next.